Hello everyone, hi. So very exciting things are happening. OpenAI has just had a developer day, and that means they announced a lot of stuff for developers, but also not only for developers. So I wanted to show you on all the API stuff, so all the developer stuff, because that is exciting. It makes you able to do a lot of custom things. But also I'm going to show you now is stuff that is just released to basically anyone, and that's a GPT, the ChatGPT itself. As you can see, now you can do GPT-4 and 3.5. You can just select between the models and they'll be able to, at least the 4 one will be able to browse, create pictures, do all kinds of code interpreter stuff, so write code for you, create files, mock-up files, and so on. So that's exciting. You don't need to flip over between a bunch of functions. And the other thing is actually they are releasing these custom GPTs that are made for different purpose. For example, this specific chat is very good at making stickers. This one is very good at making coloring book heroes, and so on. So it has a lot of these. But the beautiful thing here is that you can actually create one yourself. Just by chatting to it, saying you can brainstorm on a name, it starts actually creating that GPT with specialized knowledge. You can attach files to it. You can add a lot more things. It can enable capabilities and so on. It is incredible. So this is something anyone can do now, and there's going to be published in their store, and yeah, so that's just very cool and very exciting. So there are a lot of things that OpenAI announced in their keynote, but also a lot of things they didn't really mention, but they put that in the developer docs. So I went over docs and really just copied over every single new thing that I noticed. Maybe some stuff were already there, I just didn't know, but I put it all in this one notebook. I'll share it with you so you can actually play along and then take those snippets and use it in your applications, or just play with them. So as you can see, first of all, of course, we just install what we need. We put in the OpenAI key. You can get that key here. Hopefully you know how to do that. And well, the very first thing is actually you're now able to create voice. All you need to do is essentially, this is where I just defined where the file will be, selected the model, which is text-to-speech 1, and then selected one voice randomly from the example. You can go ahead and see what voices are available from the documentation in the link here. And here you input a text. And again, that text, you can imagine, you can generate that into this function in any way you want with ChatGPT or whatever. But in this case, I just wrote it in and I run it. I run that text, I run this model, and it generates a voice.
6 spiky skunks speedily spun spectacular spirals by the sprightly spruces.
Amazing. So now that's available. I think 5 voices in incredible quality and for fairly cheap, to be fair. Available now to all of us. Next is transcribing the audio. That was available already before. It's using the Whisper, but it's super simple. I took that file that we just created, and now let's just transcribe it. Get a transcript. It transcribes it perfectly fine. And if that was in a different language, if that file was in a different language, it would actually be able to translate it the exact same way, and you can use it in anywhere you want. So that's cool. Let's get to the really new stuff. So long context GPT-4. So as you said, this is the model for now that you can use to get actually a very long context. So you can stuff a lot of text in here. And I was just trying to test it in some way. So I basically, you can put in your long instructions here. So it's essentially here, you can just put in a full book of Harry Potter or something. And ask a question as long as you want to, with little examples and whatever you want. And just as usual, pre-fill everything and get an answer. So here I was trying for it to list all the Harry Potter characters in the world, but it still refused, so that is interesting. So I wanted to pay my fees, but it refuses to print out all of them. Okay, next amazing thing is images via API. Again, this is extremely simple. This is just to display the image in the Google Chromebook, in the Collab. But here you just define a model. DALL-E 3 is the new one. A cute lion on trampoline, and you only generate one. Only one is available with DALL-E 3, and that's it. You just you just get it. You just get an image. Yeah, here we go. For some reason it has text on a flaming trampoline. It works very well. We can generate one more and see, come with that later. So, and the next one is also incredible. This is your very simple prompt. You are a helpful assistant, right? That's the instructions, and the question is, write a 4-liner poem about tractors in the malaria-infected New York City. That's my idea. I wanted to make it as predictable as possible, and to do that, we can just define a seed number. You just define a seed number and feed it here into the completion here. You just feed that number, and then print it. So, for example, you can see this is how it starts. This is the poem, and the seed is 1 through 2, 3, 7, and the fingerprint. So. That's just something that OpenAI produces, so that you know that this version of essentially AI that you're using is the same that you used to be using. So as long as these two things are the same, it should provide a fairly similar thing every time. So fairly predictable. For poems, I did not find it to be super predictable. As you can see, it changes. It keeps changing slightly, but not too much. Actually, this time it is better. But if you do temperature 0, then it's actually very predictable. Yeah, so everything has to be the same. So the seed has to be the same, the fingerprint has to be the same, and the temperature has to be the same. The max token value, all of these things, as long as they're the same, you should keep on getting very similar results. And again, you can just play with the question, with the instructions, even the model, and then make sure as soon as you want to really change this, let's just change it to completely different. Now, yeah, that should be slightly different. Again, feel free to play. I haven't been able to, I don't know exactly how to confirm any of that. Okay, now the last one, which is honestly the biggest one, but this requires some more attention, is the assistants. So honestly, I think myself, I will just be going to their playground and assistants tab, and this is where you can actually create them with the interface. You don't need to do any basically programming. Just here, create the actual assistant. Here you can see you can add functions, you can add tools that the assistant can use, upload files that the assistant will have access to. Here, just any files, PDFs, images, I think you can just upload. And it will be able to use that when answering your users. So honestly, I would just kind of be using this. However, it is all available through the API, and here's how it works. So first of all, you create an assistant. You just tell what kind of tools it's able to use. So in this case, we'll only give it the ability to do the code interpreter stuff. Bam, we created it. Freeze the butter. That's what it's called. Here you see all the assistant that you created. It's actually on your platform. That is also super cool. Now you have that assistant created. And now let's say you have users, so every time a user comes into your platform and engages with you, you have to create a conversation thread with them. You create that thread. In this case, you could create it with messages. In this case, there are no messages. I left it commented out. But you create that thread. It has the ID. That's what you need. And now let's add a message to a thread. So let's say a user actually says, "Why doesn't my fridge work? Can you help me?" So it adds that message. The message is added to this message thread. Let's see. Let's actually see it. So you can see that code. So if you want to see those messages, you list them here using their thing. Here are all the messages. It just says this. Then, yeah, the assistant doesn't automatically respond. Actually, you have to run it. So whenever a message comes in, you would have to, in your code, you have to define that you need to run it. Here it runs. That run has a special ID. So now it runs. What that means, it picks up the tools. As you can see, it's still in progress. So we have some code to check the status. Still in progress. So what it does, it it tries to understand, okay, for this question, what do I need to do? Do I need to just answer from my general knowledge? Do I need to take that picture or that PDF that I uploaded? Or do I need to do a code interpreter? Do I need to generate a picture? So this is what the running is for. So it's ran, it completed, and now let's see what happened. Okay, so actually this is pretty stupid, but this is what the user question was. And this is the answer of that AI. So it understood that it actually just needs to respond, and it responded in here. And there are fun stuff that you can do with the run. You can actually check what it was thinking about, what kind of tools it used. You can see all of that stuff in the API call. Yeah, so that's how the assistants will work. And there's one more very cool tool. So for now, you're not able to add files via API too easily, but you can add it to these conversations, to these agent conversations. In this case here, we're just gonna create a random CSV file with the refrigerator models. You see we have three different models. And what you need to do in order to get that file, so first, whenever you have a file, you need to actually upload it to client.files.create. So you create a file, and then later, when I add another message from the user, let's say user uploads a file, I say, here's what the customer said, and here are the files that they uploaded. That's all. This is all it takes, right? You just upload a file and then define it here, right? Let's say, okay, so now we added that another thread to the conversation. Let's see if it works. It worked. And again, now the agent doesn't respond until it runs. So now let's run that agent. We ran it. Let's see the status, still in progress. So it's still trying to decide what to do. In this case, it will probably take that spreadsheet and try to understand what it is. So we are still running. Okay, the status is completed. Let's see how it responded. Okay, so the CSV file contains a list of refrigerators, and then it sort of showed what exists in the CSV file. So it was able to interpret that file that we uploaded. Yeah, so this is a short overview of all the new things that came out after the OpenAI Dev Day, and actually creating the your own GPTs. That's another thing, the thing that will be very cool, that will require no code, and I'm definitely going to be doing that. You should do it too. Maybe I can record a video of when I start doing one. But you should start doing your own as well. So good luck.